Hello everybody, welcome back. My name is Fizz. How's everyone doing today? We are back on another video of PixARK. How's everyone doing today? So in today's video, we're going to go over everything you need to know about creative mode in this game. Now, creative mode is a little bit different than ARK's creative mode, and it's not too difficult, but I just want to go over all the steps that you can take to make your creative mode experience so amazing. So anyways, let's get into the server settings first, or your single player settings first, and we'll go from there. Alrighty, so the first step of doing creative mode is making a creative mode character if you want, or making a creative map if you want. So let's just start by the beginning. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to go to local. Then what we're going to do is change our settings. We don't really need to change these too much because there's not really much we're going to need for them. These are mostly primarily for survival, building and surviving basically. But you can change them if you want. They do affect creative mode, but they're not really needed because when in creative mode you'll be able to do a lot to see. We're going to come down to here to creative mode. So as you can tell, we have a single player mode, creative mode, and reset to default. We're going to click creative. Now you can make a new character if you want, because this will affect everything about your character if you want. Because, you know, if you're playing survival and you're single player and then you want to have a creative server for building stuff or experimental stuff, then yeah, it's good to have two different characters. So we're just going to load up one now because we don't really need to make another character. And as well as we can make a new map. You can use your single player survival server if you want, okay? Or you can use a creative server that you've made. And basically, it's the same thing. You just make a new name, and that's basically it. So we're going to just we're going to get rid of this one, because we don't need this one. We're going to call it a new test, if we want. And boom, create new map. And there we go. That's it. So now we're going to get in game. We'll explain all the new features that we get with creative mode. Alrighty, so I will state this as of right now. The creative map making as well as creative single player map making is basically very primitive at this point. There's no really way to customize it at all. Basically, whatever you name it will be generated randomly, alright? So you might have to make a couple different maps if you're really looking for like a very snowy map, or very water map, or very hellish map, or one of those kind of maps, because it's very hard to make something for that. But anyways, it works the same way as this as a survival server. You have all your different regions, you have your different spawn points, and then you have your different create new survivor or respawn on a new location. So we're just going to load in, let the map create, and then we're going to get over into the settings for you guys. Alrighty, so after you log in to your new server, when it procedurally generates this map, there's a couple things you need to realize. One, you instantly have God mode. Two, you instantly have infinite stats, so you don't have to worry about dying, and you don't have to worry about food and water or anything of the sorts, because you instantly get all your you don't lose any stats, okay? So if you're worried about, oh, I found a cool map, spawn the region in, and then dying, it won't happen. You will be attracted by aggressive creatures, so keep that in mind. So if like a Rex is trying to attack you, it will just sit there around you, kind of circling, as well as like RGs. You know, everything that's trying to kill you will just sit around you and try and kill you, but you won't be able to kill them. A good command to remember, and for single player, is to leave me alone, or if you just want to kill creatures, the kill command, cheat to kill. I'll put these commands in the bottom of the corner. In the description below, all the different commands that you can use for our PixARK, because there's a bunch of commands that do not work in PixARK yet, but may work in the future. So I will list the commands in the description for you all for single player, because these commands work for single player as well as servers, as of right now of recording the video. Alrighty, so now we understand all the basics of starting. Let's start actually by the different commands. So when you spawn in, you have the different regions that you can pick. We already know that. And you spawn in basically at level 1 still, okay? You still have your character information tab, your crafting tab, your enneagram tab, your quest manager, and your try and minute. But you are level 1 when you start off, okay? So remember that. If you want to be able to have different stats for different regions and stuff, you can still do that. You can pump a bunch of health if you really, really want to, or weight, etc. But it doesn't really matter, okay? Because you're in creative mode now. On the right side, we have a bunch of different options. We have F1 through F8. Okay? These are very important commands that you want to keep note of exactly what they do. F1 is going to be your main command that you will be using. So if you are on the keyboard, obviously if you're playing PixARK on the computer, you know exactly what this is. Consoles, I have no idea. It's not even out for consoles yet, so I have no idea about any of that. But anyways, for computer-based, PC-based players, F1 opens the entire creative mode characteristics of everything. So basically, this is like the new Arc Commander and new creative mode for this game. It has everything you need to know, and we'll go over that in a minute. Next we have is Quick Tame. So if you are in, for instance, if you're just in the world and you want to just quickly tame a bunch of creatures, you can hit F2, and just basically adds a bunch of different taming. Basically, you just go around and tame stuff. That's pretty much it. It's just your force tame command, and you can actually start riding the creatures right when you tame them. So you don't need a saddle or anything. It's just basically a force tame. Obviously, shoulder mounts like a dodo or stuff, you just pick them up, etc. Same thing. F3 is the give all enneagram blueprint. So if we hit F3, we have now unlocked, if we go back to our inventory tab, crafting, we have now unlocked every single thing in the game, as well as all the enneagrams in the game. So now we can actually take a look at every single thing that we can craft in the game for each tab, from all the way from primitive skills all the way to architect. Very, very cool. So you can actually just take a look at stuff and see how much it costs, what the name of it is, and what it is. Very cool. Okay, so that is F3. Stop time. Now remember this command, because this is a command that people will actually use quite a bit. This stops everything on the game. This includes crafting, breaking blocks, you name it. It stops every single creature, every single thing in the game. Be wary of this, because if you're trying to build something, it will not work. And what I mean about that is, if I try to build, let's just do dirt. Okay? Let's just do some dirt. Okay? If I'm trying to build with dirt, it's not going to let me. Okay? It just says I'm placing dirt, but I don't see it. If I unpause the game with F4, they all just pause, they come back into the server. It's basically a way, if you spawn a bunch of creatures in wild, or you're trying to tame something, you can just stop the server real quick and be able to tame stuff. That's kind of the whole point, as well as like if you're trying to build underneath the water, maybe you're trying to fill in this kind of pocket of area, and kind of thing. But yeah, anyways, that's pretty much F4 is stop the world. Basically, stop the world of domination. Next command, it is defeat all animals. What is this? Now, you have to be extremely careful with this command, because this command will destroy every single creature, including tames, okay? I will put it in the description down below the commands that destroy wild creatures. I'm not too sure. I have not tested it if it works for creative mode, or for this game, if it does. But if it does, I will put it in the description down below if it does. But basically, what it does, if I hit it, I destroyed every single creature in the world. That's it. All tames, all wild, everything. Pretty simple. That's F5. Next command, add 10,000 XP. Now, this is extremely useful if you are trying to level up a creature that you have spawned or forced tame. Because what happens if this does, I will give an example right now. So we're going to spawn in. I'll show you guys how to do this in a minute. Okay. I'm going to spawn in an Yankee. Okay, I'm going to ride the Yankee. I'm going to add XP to the Yankee now by hitting F6. Okay. Oh, never mind. It actually broke. Okay, it used to work. I'm very sorry, but it actually does not work like that anymore, apparently. It basically just adds XP to you, which you don't really need. I mean, that's pretty much it. It's XP so you can add weight to your character and stuff. It used to work when I did testing before. It did work that you can get on a creature to add XP to the creature to level it up. So apparently it does not work anymore. So anyways, that's, I guess, sorry about that. I thought it would work. Yeah, but that's basically F6. It just adds 10,000 XP to your character of leveling up your character points. Okay? The next command is very self-explanatory. This command allows you to fly and walk. Now, there is technically no ghost in this game. But you can ghost in stuff. It kind of works, but you cannot ghost through blocks. So walk and fly is kind of the mostly thing you want to do. You can also still type it as well. So if you don't feel like hitting F7 to enable flying and walking, you don't have to. You can just type it in your console commands like that. I can just hit fly, or walk. I mean, that's kind of self-explanatory on that. So that's F7. And then lastly, we have F8, which is normal invisibility. So right now you are basically you're not invisible. You spawn in with infinite stats and God mode and all the other stuff, but you do not have invincibility. So if I go up to this Bronto and I try to punch it, it's going to try and kill me or attack me. It won't be able to unless I hit F8. Now I have invisibility. Nothing can see me in the game. Nothing. Not even Rexes, anything. I'm pretty much invisible to everything that's around. If I hit it again, I now have God mode off. So now I can actually hurt myself, and that means I'm basically vulnerable to dying. But I still have infinite stats, but I can still die. Okay? F8 again gets me back into normal mode, so now I'm technically in survival. So I have creative survival now that I'm extremely vulnerable to everything about the environment. Okay, so be aware that now I am back to survival playing, and now I'm not actually in creative. But I am still in creative because I can still create stuff with my single player commands with this command menu, which we'll go over that. Okay, we're going to hit it one more time. We now have God mode back on, and then it's basically it. You can go back and forth between the stuff. If you can't understand which one you're at, for like if you're on normal or survival, I would recommend saving the game, just logging out and resetting it, because it automatically resets you back to infinite stats and God mode and everything when you reset the single player. Okay, but yeah, that's all the commands for that. Next, we're gonna go over the open item and animal creatures. Alrighty, so let's get into the meat fighting machine of creative mode itself. So we've gone over all the different ways of setting wise and everything. So now let's actually get into the creative mode itself. So creative mode is basically based all around building anything you want or doing anything you want in creative. Okay, there is a tab made specifically for you for this thing. We've already gone over it, which is F1, the items and creatures and other things. This has every single thing in the entire game ish, because there is a couple things that are actually missing, but they will be added very soon. I'm assuming I will assure this will be updated quite frequently when there's updates with content. So keep that in mind when there's something new. Like for instance, maybe they add a whole new tier of pickaxes. Okay, all the new pickaxes may be implemented right when that update comes. Okay, not guaranteed, but it's the start. All right. So we have items, creatures, and others, okay? Let's go over items, and then we'll go over the creatures, and then we'll go over others, okay? So items. Items has every single thing in the game. We've already said that. It also has every single building block in the game, with which we haven't said that as well. So if you're looking to build, great example, if you're looking to build a train track, okay? You can build a train track in this game. You can look up train, and it will look up what you need. Now, obviously, it's not going to look up rails, because I'm pretty sure it's called tracks. It's called tracks. So there you go. There's your tracks. You can look up tracks. So basically, it's very useful to looking up different things what you need to build your thing. So if you're building like a railroad around the map, there you go. You can use that. There is also a categories on the left side that you can use as well if you don't know what the name of the object is that you're looking for. So you can look up tools. You can use equipment. The equipment is basically your weapons and your armor and your skins. Resources. This is the main resources that you farm, like fiber and magic fiber. You know, it's kind of like the basic resources. This stuff you can't build with. You can't even put it on your hotbar, but this is stuff that you can use to make into other things if you really wanted to. Components is basically the decorative or other building blocks, such as volcanic and dark wood, magic wood. You know, it's all the kind of the more advanced, cool-looking blocks in the game. It also has lots of decor, and it also has a lot of functionality, things like the crucible, the die hut. You know, it's got a lot of the stuff that you need to make other things. We also have the blocks. This is basically every single block in the game, all the way from lava. I think it does have bedrock. Does it have bedrock? I don't think it actually has bedrock. So that's the thing that they could add. Why? Well, it is in creative mode, so why not? Maybe you should have bedrock. But yeah, you can have every block in the game, and, you know, basically. Oil as well. And then lastly, we have the saddles. Now, obviously, this is just for creatures. If you want to saddle the creature, you don't need to in creative, but if you want to have a cool screenshot with the creature, then yeah. So anyways, that's kind of all this. It's very safe. It's self-explanatory. Let's go over down to this right here. Crafting quantity. So this game doesn't allow you to go over a certain amount of spawn things. So for instance, if I wanted 100 cake, I can't do that. But I can spawn 250s of them. Okay? So I click on 50. I'm going to click on cake, and then I'm going to hit accept. There's 30. That's the max I can spawn of this item. Okay? I now have 60. 90. And then 120. Okay? And I could have done, obviously, 10 as well. But, you know, you can also do, if you're too impatient to go down here to accept, if you want to spawn one thing, like a super drill, boom, you can just double click on the item you want. So it works for everything. If you set this to 50, I want 50 copy eggs, maybe I want 50 werewolf potions, maybe I want, you know, 50 of this, 50 of that, 50 of this, you know, I can change that, I can change this. Hopefully in the future we'll add more options to maybe like 100. So we have maybe like 1, 10, 50, 100. But obviously you could just hit this twice to make it 100. But not everything can do 100, okay? So that's kind of the basics for items. Very simple, very self-explanatory. And hopefully you understand all that. Alrighty, so next up we have is the creature. So the creature is a little bit interesting because I think it could probably be reworked a little bit better. And I'll explain a little bit why. So if you saw the creatures video, you can check that on the top right or then link in the description down below. But we've already gone over all the creatures, alright, in the game. But this creative mode creature thing is kind of overwhelming. So what I would do, I'll explain that in a minute. But anyways, let's go over it. So it has every single creature almost. It's actually missing 2 creatures as of right now in the game, okay? The creature tab, you also have search. This does not work at all. If I look up like, if I look up Compy, it doesn't work. Like this search engine does not work whatsoever for the creatures. So it needs to be fixed. It does not work at all. So be in that mind. You're gonna have to search, actually look for each and every creature. If you're looking for panda, you're gonna have to look for the icon and look for the name, which is down here and stuff. You know, it's kind of gross in my opinion. It's kind of really unorganized, the creature tab. You can look up sunny day. Sunny day is like kind of, I don't really understand it. It means something, I don't know, because like it has such a random things in it. It has I would feel sunny day would be passive creatures, right? But this just has everything. It has like trikes, big air. Like I just don't understand. It's so weird. You also have magic. This doesn't even include all the magic creatures. So I don't still understand why this is a thing either. In my opinion, don't worry about these tabs on this left side until they get them fixed. This kind of works. It's still missing 2 creatures as well. I would just worry about, if you're trying to spawn in stuff, use just the all tab and search the creature, because these tabs are just completely messed up right now and they just don't make any sense and they're kind of just confusing. Just don't look at them and don't even bother. Okay, so let's go on to the example. So I want to spawn in a Gigantopithecus. Okay, I want a tamed Gigantopithecus, okay, versus a wild Gigantopithecus. How do I do that? Well, it's actually extremely very, very simple. Also, I will point out at the end as well another problem with this. So, here's my Gigantopithecus, okay? I'm going to click on that Gigantopithecus. I'm going to go down to here. This says tamed or wild, okay? It doesn't really tell you which one's which, but you can kind of guess which one it is. This is tamed, this is wild. So when you hit this and I hit accept, it's going to spawn in a Gigantopithecus way above my head into the game over here, okay? I don't need any saddles or anything. I mean, obviously it's a Gigantopithecus, okay? So that's kind of weird. On the other thing, if I want a wild one, I now have to go back to here, spawn a wild one in, and hit accept. And now I should spawn another one in that is wild. Okay? Pretty simple, self-explanatory, okay? Now, the problem with the problem I have with this entire system is that you can only spawn level 1 creatures, okay? There's no way to change the levels. There's no way to level them up. You have to just grind levels if you want. So it kind of defeats the purpose of spawning creatures in my opinion, because no matter what, you're going to get level 1 creatures. Okay? So, it's kind of interesting. Oh, they're going to go fight. But yeah, so anyways, that's kind of the creatures tab. It's very just all over the place. Advice for developers: fix this tab completely. Maybe just fix it. Add a level scale and add the rest of the creatures, because you're missing creatures that are not even in here. Also, there's creatures that are in ruins that are not even in the spawn sheet. So like there's ruined ice bears and stuff. You need to add every single creature because they're all different, right? So that's kind of the thing. But yeah, anyways, that's the creature tab. Hopefully, hopefully that you were informed on that. Alrighty, so the last tab for this video is the other. Now the other can be customized and edited a little bit differently throughout the course of this game's coming out. And what I mean about that is they might add a bunch of new commands and other things to this. But basically we're going to go over all this right now. So on the other tabs, you got a big map, you have your chords, you also have your different spawn regions, meaning this is all the different biomes on this map, okay? We also have a teleport, we have a freeze option, set time, and we also have select weather. All these change all the time. And what I mean about this is if you don't have this kind of aesthetically, but we'll go over that. So, right now we can see our map, okay? We can actually teleport on this map. So, for instance, if I want to go to here, okay, I'm going to see if I can... Oh, actually, I don't think we can. Oh, it's called Doom, right? It's called the Doomlands? I think it's called Doomlands. Where's, Oh, they got rid of the skin. That's another thing that's not here anymore. You can't see which region is which now. So, if you want to really know which one is which, you have to come to this map. So, yes, Doomland is brown. Dark Forest is the gray. Frozen Land is white. Golden Realm, you know, it's a little bit of hectic, but that's fine. It'll still work for our test servers. So we're gonna go to Doomland, okay? So we're gonna just teleport, and now we're gonna be teleported to a land of doom. So as you can tell on our mini map, when we land, okay, right now it's loading. Just give it some time. But right now, we are now teleported to the random part of a Doomland. Now, we can actually do this again, and we should be able to teleport to a random spot again to a different part of Doomland. Okay, nope, it didn't work. So, a lot of these commands, they're just a little finicky right now. Obviously, the game has just been released, so they're going to be a little bit broken. But in the future, you should be able to hit one of these and be able to teleport randomly throughout the different zones. So, for instance, if I hit desert, I should spawn in one of these random ones, and if I hit it again, I should spawn in a different one. You know, it allows you to teleport around the map very easily, okay? So that's kind of the teleportation. Next, let's go over the freezing option now. So this also is extremely finicky, but I'm going to explain it to you on how it works. So as of right now, these freezing options allow you to freeze something in the world. So you can freeze time, weather, animals, or all. Okay? So if you want to freeze time, so as of right now, we actually have time frozen. Okay? As you can see on the top left, time is 11, and our forecast is sunny. So that means we have everything's frozen. Basically, there's no weather change, there's no day or night cycle, it's just frozen, okay? So we just click these and accept, okay? If you want to change that, you can just do this, and there you go. And now, everything should be unfrozen again, unless it's broken, which it looks like it is. So apparently now it's not unfrozen. Sorry, a lot of these commands don't work still, but hey, it is it is new, so we got to bear in mind with it. But basically, you know, when it does work, it works. But, you know, you'll probably only do it once every one session just to stop weather effects. Next thing we have is time. Now, if you don't know this is basically the same exact thing about arc time. So if you set this to about 20, it's going to be nighttime. If you set it to about like 5, it's going to be morning time, okay? So basically it goes off the same time cycle as arc survival. And if you don't know that, I'll put in a link description for how to read arc time. Basically plain and simple, or you can just mess around with different numbers, okay? Last thing we have is we have selected weather. Now, this doesn't really work unless you unfreeze the weather. So, for instance, if I want to change it to wet, it should technically work since I unfroze it. Let's see, did it go to rain? No. So, basically, this tab will not work at all unless you unclick this, okay? So, let's see if we do this, if we can get this to work. Accept. Nope, it will not work because it's broke. So basically, if you want to be able to have a shot that's raining, just relog, your game if you accidentally touch the freezing option, because the freezing option just kind of breaks your game for time, day and night cycle and all the other stuff. So just bear in mind, you have his sun, you have his rain, you have his winter, you have his wind, you have extreme wind with snow, extreme lightning, extreme poison, and then extremely death. I don't really know what this one is, but I don't really feel like it's a good idea to activate. And then you just hit accept. That's pretty much it. But yeah, so anyways, that's pretty much it of creative mode. I know it's extremely talkative, but there was a lot to go over. But if you guys liked the video, please leave a thumbs up, like, share, comment, tell me if I missed anything. If I did, I'm pretty sure I covered everything about creative mode. And yeah, hopefully that helped out, because I know a lot of people were questioning on it on my streams about how this actually all works. And but yeah, that's kind of it. Don't forget, I will be putting commands in the description down below of all other commands that are not listed in the game yet. So that way, if you want to, you can use them for your server or vice versa and stuff. But that's it. If you guys liked the video, leave a thumbs up, like, share, comment, Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Also, before we go, I want a big, can you guys help me out a little bit? I'm posting videos of PixARK on Steam. I will be putting a pinned comment on that. Can you just leave a like on Steam? It'll help me out. I'm going to try something new. But yeah, that's kind of it. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye!